everybody, it is the Lawn Gnome and welcome to your March 2019 episode of Out of the Vault. If you are new to my channel, welcome, it is a pleasure to have you, and I am always excited to come back to you guys with a monthly episode of everything Disney, Disney Pixar, and Studio Ghibli. And we're going to talk about a very interesting film today. The Oscars just passed us by. And the best animated film of 2018 was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, granted, I admitted that I was not the biggest fan of that film, but I totally understood what made it so popular and why it actually did win, even though I was rooting this year for Isle of Dogs. But we're going to talk about another milestone in the world of animation, and it was the Oscars that made it all possible. And that, of course, was thanks to John Lasseter bringing Studio Ghibli films to the mainstream in the United States and the rest of the Western world, and pretty much the entire world in general. The 12th film of Studio Ghibli's library, Spirited Away, of course directed by the great Hayao Miyazaki. So, I remembered hearing a lot about this movie. It was actually one of the first times I had ever actually seen an anime film really getting a mainstream publicity stream, and all these critics were saying, you've got to go see this movie, it's fantastic, but I didn't see a single theater that was playing it. And when the Oscars came around, featuring the second Oscar for Best Animated Feature Film, because of course it was the year before when it was officially announced, and it was up against Disney Pixar's Monsters, Inc. And out of nowhere, this movie wins, and I was very, very surprised. I was like, it's not even an American film. That shows you how naive I was, and I still wasn't entirely into anime yet. But as time moved on, and anime became a mainstay in my world, I finally had the ability to see all of these amazing Studio Ghibli films, and then I finally watched Spirited Away. And is it a movie that really was holding up to the name that the Oscars said that it was? Well, I gotta say, they weren't wrong. There were a couple of things that I can disagree with, but this movie, without a doubt, is one of the most mesmerizing, most beautiful anime films that I have ever seen, and also one of the most beautifully crafted animated films in general. So this is the story of a girl named Chihiro who is moving to a new town, and she really does not want to go. And all of a sudden, her parents take a wrong turn and they come upon this abandoned amusement park, yet they discover this beautiful and luscious buffet, and her parents just don't care and decide to dig in, while Chihiro, being the fraidy cat and unsure person that she is, feels that something is wrong, and oh boy was she right. This was food for the spirit dimension, and because of the fact that the living world decided to dabble in it, they ended up paying the price. And Chihiro is now stuck in the spirit world and has to try and find a way to get out with a little bit of help of a strange spirit named Haku, who apparently knows who she is, and she doesn't seem to understand how. So this, of course, stars a great cast, including The Ring's Devay Chase, Jason Marsden from Susan Egan, who played Meg in Hercules, and of course the late, great Suzanne Pleshette, just to name a few. This movie, how can I describe it? The atmosphere, the storytelling, the creatures, it's basically Alice in Wonderland doubling the dose of the acid. It is a trip and a half, it is beautiful to look at, it is just incredibly bizarre and zany and original. There are some moments that are very heartfelt, moments that will make you laugh, and moments that will literally make you a bit uncomfortable, and I'm not going to give that away because I want you to see what I mean for yourself. There's also a great deal of positive messages in this movie because Chihiro, lost in the spirit world, is trying to get home, and at the same time she is learning a great deal of things. Putting others in front of yourself, assessing a situation instead of going head on, knowing that life is complicated and things are going to be thrown at you in so many different ways, and you are going to have to try and figure out a way to overcome them and continue to press on, and of course, knowing who you are. And that's pretty much what you get besides the beautiful animation, the bright color palette, the beautiful score, everything about this movie screams perfection. However, there is a small fault in regards to this movie, and it is the main character, Chihiro. I just didn't see myself truly connecting with her. I thought that she was a little bit whiny, a little bit annoying, and truthfully, I have seen all of the Studio Ghibli films at this point in time, and if there's one thing that Miyazaki and Takahata do well is they make very good heroes and heroines, as well as villainous characters. But for some strange reason, they didn't seem to really get it right this time. They didn't give me such a strong heroine in Chihiro. They really didn't give me a strong villainess or anti-hero in this case in Yubaba, who is played by Suzanne Plachette. I mean, I loved her personality, but I really didn't care much for her. I found myself connecting with characters like Lin and Haku more than the actual main focuses of this film. But I'm not going to deny the fact that this is a truly wonderful film, and I do believe at the end of the day, it deserved to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, regardless of its faults. And I'll tell you why. It's because of the fact that it was time. Much like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, a comic book film, winning a Best Animated Feature award. Comic book films were practically B-movies for so many years, and it wasn't until Christopher Nolan finally gave the world a Batman movie that everybody could sink their teeth into, and also a Batman that had so much depth alongside his rogues gallery. Anime first set its feet on American soil in the 1950s with Astro Boy, and it took anime almost 50 years to finally make it into the mainstream. And with a movie like Spirited Away that is just beautifully crafted, regardless of the things that I personally had issues with, it was time for anime to be recognized and be known as a piece of artwork. And thanks to Spirited Away winning that Academy Award, Disney brought almost all the Studio Ghibli films to the United States, old and new, redubbed them, and gave them to a whole new generation to enjoy. And after that, all the following Studio Ghibli films got more recognition, more theaters in the United States for people to go and see them, and direct day one DVD and Blu-ray release dates so people could get their hands on these movies and watch them. And now, in the Academy Awards in the future, when animated films are being recognized, you will constantly see an anime film nominated. Do we ever think that we'll see another anime film win an Academy Award? I mean, dare I say it, I think Your Name should have been nominated and won, but that's another story for another time. But Studio Ghibli finally got what it deserved. Recognition, and now immortalized as iconic studios of animation and a powerful animated film library. If you haven't seen Spirited Away, I highly recommend that you do. I think that you will just be blown away by it. Will you like it more than me? Chances are you probably will. But I still think that it is one of the strongest Studio Ghibli films, even though I can definitely recommend others that I truthfully believe are better. But I own this movie, I have watched it multiple times, and I think that it is truly a landmark in all of animation, which is why I will proudly give Spirited Away a 3.5 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss Spirited Away. And I will see you in the next Out of the Vault. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.